Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Dina and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as always, we can't talk yarn without me having my faithful mug of tea. And today I have a black tea flavored with orange. So it is a pretty black tea. Lovely fresh here in the autumn. We are heading closer and closer to Christmas as well. It's crazy how time flies. I'm realizing, you know, I can't believe it's already Friday. It's just so quickly how time flies these days. But since last time, I did finish one project. Unfortunately, not the project that I'd hoped to finish, which was the Thoughts of Ireland, a shawl. No, I finished the Crochet Hat. It doesn't have a fancy name. I do link to it in the description box down below, which is the Crochet Hat that Day Crochet, so Crystal from Day Crochet, has made a tutorial for. I went through the tutorial and I found it reasonably easy to make. Definitely enjoyable, except I think I need to up my crochet hook size because it's turned out a bit smaller than I had expected and anticipated. But here's the final result. I have it on my little head mannequin here. And I know this head is smaller than my head. And it also has no hair. And it sits a little bit tight on it. It does sit okay, but it's a little bit tight on it. I've done measurements of it. And fundamentally, the size is more like a child to a teen or somewhere in between, probably more like a big child. Yeah, we definitely did not turn out the size that I had anticipated. I will also honestly say that I noticed during that tutorial video, I was looking at it, that my stitching is definitely more tight and tense. My tension is tighter than Crystal's. So that is definitely one of the reasons. So what I want to do is actually to make the same hat in more or less the same yarn and up the crochet hook size. I used a 5mm for this one. And now I want to use a 6mm just to see how that turns out. What is the size difference? Is that visible? Also for something new, I've never done the herringbone stitch before, so for me that was new. Worked up really nicely. I really also like the increasing here and how you can increase with the sort of ribbing front post, back posts. So it was a quite useful project for learning. And I do like the outcome. It's just a little bit more compact and smaller than what I had expected it to be. So this is the yarn I have left from the yarn I made it with, and I made it with the Lena from Vibra. And while I do not have another skein of this, what I do have is I do have a yarn that has the exact same specs. And I would say when you fill the yarn and when you go through the yarn and when you look at how the thread is, etc., I think it's the same yarn. It's just, you know, made in the same factory, probably even. It's just branded differently because it's bought in 2 different value stores. This is the Julia. And the specs of the yarn is 100 grams, so 3.5 ounces to 170 meters. And that goes for both of these yarns. They also both 80% acrylics and 20% wool. And I should definitely up the crochet hook size because they do actually recommend the 6mm, but I was stubborn enough believing that we would be fine. And if you look at these 2 yarns held together, then you can see they're both plied in the same way. So it seems to be a really fair test to take this gray and make the same, but I up the crochet hook size from 5mm to a 6mm crochet hook, and then we will see how that one turns out and how much bigger it is. Not unhappy with the result, and you do have an idea of the joining point here, but it's not super jumping into your eyes either. I think it's a reasonably even result for the first time that I'm trying out a pattern. So in that sense, I'm pretty happy with the result. And it could be interesting to make the pattern here in the middle of some sort of different color. Not something that I worked on this time around, but maybe something that I would consider for a future project, should I want to make more of these hats. But let's start by seeing if and what the result is if I up the crochet hook size by 1 millimeter to a 6 millimeter crochet hook. So that is my goal. I will not have time to start on this before earliest Monday. And I will explain you quite simple. I have other obligations this weekend, therefore I won't have time to be able to sit down and, for example, follow instructions. So yeah, Monday is probably when I might start on it, and then we will see how far I get if I manage to finish the hat. Because I do have a few other projects I also really desperately want to finish. So that kind of depends on how the flow goes for working up the second version of this. If it flows well, I will probably have it finished by Friday, and if not, then it's gonna be the following week. So for now, I'm just basically going to test out that. I do have a few more yarns of these, so I am gonna keep the scrap because I will probably be able to use it for another project if I want an accent color or something like that. There is probably 1 or 2 rounds for a hat in here. It's a good assessment right now. So yes, that's the hat I finished, and I do think the result of it is pretty okay. Like, I'm pretty satisfied with how it ended up. Yes, so then I had the opportunity to work a little bit on the Fleur Mosiac blanket. The Fleur Mosiac blanket is by Anke Wintermans. She's a Dutch designer. She sells her patterns on Ravelry, and I have also linked to this pattern in the description box down below, should you be interested in it. I am working with a G hook, so a 4 millimeter crochet hook. And I managed to do another round. So we are at round 56. Out of 129, I believe it is 127 or 129. I do believe it's 129. At row 67, we are going to change color again to a like more Fuchsia Purple. I did, as I said, do 1 full row, and then I started on the next row, which means that I'm currently working in the red. Because we are working, let's see. Yeah, we're working from here, that direction around, and this is where I am at on the 57th round. There is that. So this would be how it would look, including row 57. But as you can see, it's not all the way around, but with one more row added since last week, this is how we are now looking. It's definitely gorgeous. It really is. And the back side, for those that's interested in the back side of the piece, this is where the back side of the piece is, which is basically just a negative of the same. What I have done is that I have gotten to the conclusion, and I am quite happy I've done so. I've caked up the yarn to keep easier track of the yarn when I am working, because I can then place them on these yarn winders or yarn spins to easier help me keep track of my yarn. And I've done that with both of the colors, so that I can easily keep track of this yarn when I'm working with it. It is the Stylecraft Special DK yarn that I'm using. Oops, like this. And we have the dark red you have in the center is the burgundy, and then we have the cream white, I do believe it is, which is the main color that goes through, and then currently the red one is the claret. I do believe it's called cream. Yes, it's called cream. cream and claret. This means that we are currently having about another 10 rounds to go, 9-10 rounds, for me to change the color again. So let's hope there is enough yarn. There's still quite a bit on the roll. And when I did the burgundy, I was quite surprised how little yarn I actually had left, but there was exactly enough to complete it. The Stylecraft Special DK yarns are 3.5 ounce skeins to 299 meters, I believe it is, which is like 320 some odd yards. So 56 is where we are currently at, and my challenge is that it's really growing too big for my project crate, so I need new project crate for that project. That's just how it is. Or I need to have it laying somewhere where it's easily and it's not gonna get too disturbed. I'm not really exactly sure how I'm gonna solve that yet. Either I need to get a bigger crate, or I need to just have it laying on the table so it's not tangling too much up, because it is getting bigger. There's like no way around it. Then this summer, so it is a while ago now, because it was the summer, I think in the middle of the summer maybe, June, July, I think July, I started working on the Thoughts of Aranel Shawl. The Thoughts of Aranel Shawl is an absolutely gorgeous shawl in the DROPS Alpaca. And the DROPS Alpaca is a very thin yarn, and therefore I'm using a 3.25mm crochet hook. The pattern calls for a 3mm hook, but I choose the 3.25 because, as I said, my tension is tighter than the average. The yarn I'm using is this absolutely gorgeous DROPS Alpaca. And it's in the mix yarn, which basically just means it's a bit heathered because it's like a little bit like a hayish yellow on top of it, right? It's a color they call Alive, if I do not remember wrong. It's 100% alpaca, 1.8 ounce skeins, which is 50 grams, to 167 meters, which is 183 yards. Absolutely gorgeous, feels wonderful to work with. And I had progressed, I thought, well. And then I realized that I had skipped a bit of the pattern, which basically means I'm reading the charts. It's like their diagrams, this defining how to do next, etc. every row. And I basically skipped reading a little note text. So I started preparing for the finish apparently earlier than I was supposed to, which resulted in me needing to frock 2 full rows. And then after I had frocked those 2 full rows, then on Wednesdays live, I recreated the following 2 rows after the frocking. And this is just right now where we are. I must admit, I've not read so far forth in the pattern to be able to say how many rounds I have to go, but it's probably still like 5 or something like that, because as I said, I had to frock a couple of rows and now I needed to recreate them. What I do know is the next row is a bunch of treble crochets. So I will work in treble crochets in these split roomings. So what I will be doing is it's like 2 treble crochets, chain 1 and 2 treble crochets. Then it's chain 1 to the next space here, and then it's gonna be 2 trebles, chain 1, 2 trebles, etc. all the way around. And that's probably gonna take like at least an hour per row. So it is quite some time that's left in the project. A good guess is 5 to 10 hours, and of course I'm blocking. I still like how it looks, but I'm also going to admit I'm not sure it's a drops pattern that I will quickly be doing anytime in the future, simply because it's a thin yarn and there is quite a few places in this pattern where you only need to do front loop or back loop of the previous stitch, and it just takes time to make. So yeah, due to the time requirement of making this pattern, I am not 100% sold on wanting to make this pattern sometime in the future. But right now I am just basically working up the pattern, and it's nice round shawl, but it will definitely favor some blocking because it does tend to curl up. So yes, we need to block it as well once we are finished. Again, I have a genuine hope that we can finish it before next week's yarn talk video, but I'm not sure because I have the hat that I generally want to work on due to also having the other yarns that I potentially want to make hats in. But if that's a priority, I don't know. Maybe it's just a priority to get this shawl finished actually. So either it's gonna be, it depends on my mood on Monday. If I'm in the mood for the shawl, I'll be working on the shawl. If I'm in the mood for the hat, I'll be working on the hat. But I will do my best. No more we can, right? To have either or finished. Of course, if I do get it finished, I'm not sure if I do really have the time to get it blocked. Also because I have another project I do want to start on. We will talk about that in a few. The last project that I'm currently working on is the Aranel Shawl, and the Aranel Shawl is by K.A.M.E Crochet. She is a Hungarian designer. She also sells her pattern. I got this pattern from the Hobby Plus. You can also buy it at Hobby, or you can buy it at Ravelry, I believe. I linked to the Hobby Plus because that is, or the Hobby, because that is where I got the pattern. So that seems the logic place to link to it. I am working on the Aranel Shawl in the Flowers Alpaca cake from YarnArt, which is a 20% alpaca and 80% acrylic cake. They are very similar to Hobby's Wheel of Alpaca cakes. The only difference is that this cake is a different colorway, and it's what I had. And since I only had this single, I decided I need to do something I just can use a single cake for. I saw the shawl and I thought, well, it's nice, it's simple, it's straightforward, it's a bit asymmetrical. I like it. And this is a cake I'm working on. I keep it in the project crate because I'm afraid it's slowly going to be collapsing. As you can see, I have quite some center out here. It started in a darker gray, and we're going towards the teals here at the outer edge. And this is basically just a back forth project. Right now I need to do chain 1.5 double crochet, and then I need to work in these sort of bubble fan stitches. So it's 3 bubble stitches in 1 stitch, but you do skip 2. So you every time work them in that top of each of them, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's just really difficult to get the real gist of it on the camera. You can see that we are changing colors throughout. And what you do see is that it is really having this sort of curly shape. So what I actually should do is I should get up off my chair, and I should show this one to you in a bit of a distance. That might actually help. Look, it's curling up. And the reason for this is that at the very end, so at the opposite end of where we have the bubble stitches or puff stitches, we do 2 stitches in that last stitch. So every row here increases by 2, and here we do no increases. So when you only increase in one side, you automatically get this feeling of how this is going, a bit asymmetrical. I am at around 80, 90 something. 90, I'm probably close to around 90. I need 144 rows repeating this, and then I will basically slowly change the pattern. And I do believe then it's gonna be more like the bubble stitches all the way across, so that's gonna definitely take more time. So far what I am enjoying, after I finish the bubble stitches, it's just a bunch of half doubles all the way to the end, turn around, and a bunch of half doubles all the way to the end, etc. So it is a project that's really simple to do in a car or on the couch, etc. because it doesn't require a lot of thought. And that is definitely something that speaks to the easygoing me. Earlier this week, I was watching the new season. Well, I'm not sure if it's that new anymore, but for me, it's new. The new season of The Lincoln Lawyer, which is the season 3 on Netflix. And while I was watching that, I did a couple of rows on this. So yeah, and I finished it. No spoilers coming. But if you're looking for a good lawyer series to watch, I think it's a good one. Can recommend. So that is the Aranel Shawl and how far we've gotten on it. The Aranel Shawl calls for 4mm crochet hook in the pattern. I use a 4.5mm because, again, I have a tighter crochet tension, but tighter than average. But also because I'm using my 4mm with my Fleur, and I don't have that many of these soft touch hooks, which I really do enjoy working with because they go through butter through the yarns. So yeah, that just happens to be a win-win combination, because I think it works up really nicely with the 4.5mm. It looks very, very similar to what I can see on the photos of the pattern, and therefore I think the choice I've made in that regard is probably the best choice I could make. At least that is what I assume. We talked about, of course, that I wanted to make the hat, so that is for the new projects laying here. As I said, 6mm hook for doing that with. Not sure if I'll have time to start on it next week. We will find out. Everything kind of depends on how my mood is and what everything else here is going on, because I am absent this weekend, and due to me being a bit on the road, I'm not sure how much time I have actually at all. I need to bring a project with me that's easy for me to make, that I can have with me on the go, that doesn't require a lot, and where the pattern is for reasonably simple to do. So I've decided to bring with me the recycled cottons in the sand and I do believe it's called off-white, beige, that's it, sand and beige. So we have the sand beige, and I am going to make another bag, another shopper bag. Basically I am going to make a copy of this, but I will have some differences in the colors. So the colors will be different. I will start the bottom being darker, and then it will slowly become more and more beige towards the top. That's the current plan of it, and that's basically it. It's a plan I had when I bought these yarns, and therefore it's a plan I do want to proceed with. I have to admit, the way of combining the colors, well, the two colors are the same, but the way of doing the actual pattern with the colors has changed since I got the yarns. But I know this will work out, and I think it's going to be really, really gorgeous when we are done. So that is basically what I will be doing. I will be making this whole piece in a different color variation. I have a 4 of each, which is more than enough, because I need probably three of each, maybe, because I will have to weave in some ends, etc. It could be like I need a bit more than 3 of each, so it could be 3.5. But time will show. I will simply just work it up. So I will bring the skeins with me, and I will bring my 5mm crochet hook with me, and I will put them in a bag so I can have it easy accessible. I'll bring my darning needles, and I will bring a scissor, and that's basically all what I need for the project, because I believe that I am, well, okay, a couple of safety bit, or what is it called, stitch markers, to help me keep track on when and where to increase and decrease, etc. But I'm pretty settled on how to do the colors, and I know pretty much how to do everything. So I think we are going to be absolutely fine on this accord. Don't think I will have this bag finished unless I will have surprisingly more time available this weekend than I anticipate. It could also be I don't have time to do anything at all. We do have a drive ahead of us if it's not too dark in the car. I will probably crochet some in the car. But generally, the project is coming with me to make sure that I have entertainment for when it's not super busy, and we will see how far I get. That is basically the goal. And if I can make a full bag, that would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, we will see, right? We will see. So I think that's pretty much it here out. If you do enjoy yarn talks, if you do talking about crochet, if you look talking about yarns, etc., don't forget to hit that like button. That really supports me, and I will very much appreciate it. And if you aren't done that yet, also hit the subscribe, because then you do get notified, at least if you hit the bell as well, when I do post new videos, or I'm more likely to pop up in your feed when I post new videos. On Monday, please tune in on Monday, I do have a short first-hand impression of a crochet book, and that is the Crochet a Flower Garden. That comes with a bunch of crochet patterns on flowers. Absolutely gorgeous, good descriptions in the book. I think the book's definitely value for money. And yeah, I'll take you with you on a tour into that book, so you can get a quick impression of what it is, to see if that's something that could maybe suit whichever need you have if you're into maybe crocheting flowers. Yeah, I think we got it pretty summed up, and I'll be back next week, Friday, of course, with a new yarn talk video. And until then, I'm going to say take care and happy crafting. Bye.